One or two words that describe how I feel during my time here. I'd say surprisingly at ease. I think anytime that you ask people to fly in from all over the country who predominantly don't know each other, who are coming from completely different scenarios, stages of life, stages of family, whatever other events may be going on in their work or otherwise, and you dive bomb in together in a city like this, over 22 million people, you don't know what the energy or the attitude is going to be. And right when I landed and got to the Museum of Anthropology, it was just such a warm greeting. Right when people walk up, which is sort of that period where everyone's trying to get to know each other. Sometimes, or oftentimes, I think at a lot of other things that I've been to, there's a grouse chesting and a real closed off nature. And first, I'd say what you and Mayhole have done in terms of just setting the atmosphere, that people arrive and feel very open-hearted and really truly, that's not just a word, they feel authentically open-hearted and are excited to meet one another. That feeling kicked off right from the beginning. So at ease, welcome, and there was a warmth to it, and that setting for that first night on this one at the Museum of Anthropology was just so special because we're clearly being given a gift right out of the gates. Right off the bat, there was a gift. And if you study experience design or things like that, you want to kick things off strong and end things strong. But somehow you guys have managed to just continue kicking off strong, keeping strong, and now ending strong. So that's the feeling that I've had. It was on initial conversations described as a summit of post-exit or second mountain founders, entrepreneurs, and heads of family offices. And that is true, but I would actually almost go a little bit deeper. If I was, when I go home and I'm going to talk about this with my wife, I would say it's a group of people who come from an incredibly diverse background, but each of whom has been highly ambitious in their life, but not at the cost of other people, and have a really high moral compass, a high degree of integrity, a high degree of openness, and a willingness to get to know one another and see what unique gifts come out of those conversations. Everybody's just got a completely different story. So I think the fact that there's so many people from different countries and that was in no way a barrier to people getting to know each other. In fact, it became an ad that this is not a conference where it's an unconference, but it's a gathering of people that are not looking to meet other nice people, but also hoping that there's some sort of second angle there. I can't tell you how many conversations I've had with people where the vast majority of these conversations, I never ended up learning what someone did in their, quote unquote work life. Well, certainly every one of the breakout sessions was really personal, but in a way that was approachable and accessible. But people really dove deep in a relatively short amount of time. And so that ability to create a condition where people go from 0 to 60 on personal life with a trust and a willingness to share certain things, but with an open-heartedness to it was something that stood out. And then also you guys did a great job. There was an initial one-on-one conversation and with a series of stack questions, and each question sort of took you a layer deeper. And that was one of the favorite things I've ever done. I'd say I actually didn't always live that way. While I've done things that maybe felt on the outside like they were really purpose-driven, they were still designed in a way that, for me specifically, was seeking to be seen by a sea of anonymous eyes and looking for validation, and not necessarily at their core driven by this energy that was true, for lack, and not that that was bad, it just, I didn't even realize it. And recently, I've shared this story with so many people. I've been going through this process of completely redesigning my life to integrate my family, my work, how we're raising our kids, how we're educating them, how we're contributing to community, how we're building community. And so there's a line that I like, which is for a story to truly be great, the protagonist has to have something that they want to have happen with every fiber of their being, and a clear tragedy that will result if it doesn't. And for me, that comes down to connection, and specifically connection with my family, and then from there, connection with community. And so right now, for me, individually, purpose is designing my life around helping my children, first and foremost, create a healthy connection with their inner voice. And in the process, maintaining and continually strengthening my connection with my wife and improving my connection with my family and then our community. Eight weeks ago, we purchased a home on a little bit of land in Michigan, and it's something that we've been looking for quite some time. For a couple decades, I'd been living in a city, in a big city, and went from the Bay Area to Elea and then to Nashville. And with each of those moves, my wife and I kept moving a little bit towards more and more nature, more and more trees. But this was like our full dive into dropping ourselves into a place that is nature first, where you feel surrounded by nature, where you can't avoid it. And the idea behind that is that we're building a music and mental health sanctuary for our family and for our closest friends. And then we're taking the gifts that come out of that and bringing those to the community, and trying to act as contributors as best we can to the community at large, and then see where it goes after that. So I met you guys through Rustam, who's also a founding member of Elea. And one of the things that I've loved about meeting Mehul and you, Julie, are that there's a real, genuine authenticity to your desire to connect with others, but not from the vantage point that you're seeking something, from the vantage point that you're really trying to forge a deep and real connection, and that you're trying to help other people and just see what unique things come out of the cross-pollination of those creative collisions. And you sprinkle in poetry, and you sprinkle in experience design, and you sprinkle in laughter, and effortlessness was the word that I used. I've gone to so many different conferences where you see the organizers of those conferences running around like a chicken with their head cut off, and you guys are present. While simultaneously, it's very clear that for something like this to happen, there's a tremendous amount of forethought that goes into it, and a tremendous amount of work that's going on during the actual events behind the scenes. But the fact that like right now, I mean, the camera will show this, we're sitting in a place that is ineffable, and it's how we're ending this experience, and that this is the kind of thing that just materialized for you guys and feels like probably just one of many, many, many locations and experiences that you're going to be designing in the future. I think that sort of captures who you guys are. I appreciate you guys having me. And I'm bringing my wife and kids.